Hey there, guys. Welcome back. I'm sorry I've been gone for a couple days. I've been a little under the weather. I'm sure you could probably hear it in my voice, but I'm not going to be on screen today just because of that. We got the majority report here. Sam and Emma talking about WTF is anti-establishment, which they definitely are not. Like I told you before, the majority report is pretty much pointless, useless at this time.
Max Lefty. Speaking of populism, Max Lefty. Sam and Francesca spoke about anti-establishment being problematic when you don't have an ideology. Can you speak about that? Yes. Because in one instance, if you are just merely anti-establishment, really what it is, it's daddy issues. I mean, that's what it breaks down to. And the problem with that is that you can fight the establishment, but then you create a vacuum. And if you do not have an ideology that is behind that anti-establishment, and by ideology, I mean a perspective on what you would do in leadership. Like, what is the programmatic ideological framework in which you would have government? Then what happens is if you fight the establishment and you win, there is a vacuum. And undoubtedly, some of the other...
So Sam saying not to fight the establishment, is that what you're saying now?
Anti-establishmentarians, they have a program. They have a plan.
It's easy.
And they have an ideology, and it's a right-wing one.
It's easy to be anti-establishment because if that were the standard, we are. Like, we vote for... I voted for Democrats. I encourage people...
What an idiot. She's going to say we are anti-establishment. We vote for Democrats. That is the problem. You guys are the problem. They're not pushing the Green Party now. They're not doing anything. Okay, you guys were scared of Trump. All right, it's too late, right? We only got 100 whatever days for Kamala. Fine, whatever. It's done. It doesn't matter. Trump already won. Even Kamala won. Start pushing the Green Party now. These people are useless.
People vote for Kamala Harris and didn't work out. But the point is just like, the establishment isn't working for people in the sense that our administrative state is going to be gutted by the Republicans. We have slashed taxes on the wealthy and income inequality is through the roof because of neoliberal and right-wing policies.
Oh, but everything is different when Democrats are in office. They don't slash taxes. Everybody's just hunky-dory when they're in office. Nobody's poor, nobody's homeless, everything's good. These people are insane. Kamala Harris should put you in jail with the stroke of her pen and then just take you right back out when she's ready after you done pay some fines and shit. These people are feckless, dude.
Policies. But if you're anti-establishment, what comes next? Ask people that. What is the next sentence? Okay, we overthrow the establishment, we achieve our goals. What do you put in its place? Because then you become the establishment. Once you overthrow the establishment, you are the establishment.
All right, universal health care. We start building food for us. Start pre-K, universal colleges, all kinds of things.
Then what is the future that you're building? Because for the left, it should be focused on decommodifying the essentials of life, housing, food, healthcare, etc.
Okay, that's exactly what I said. So this is not at all what Kamala was going to do, right? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, none of the Democrats talk about anything like that. But she's anti-establishment because she's going to tell you to vote for the Democrats.
Or that we aren't slaughtering people abroad in genocides.
So vote for Kamala Harris, who's slaughtering people overseas in a genocide? I don't understand if they speak English or if they can hear themselves, but this is insane.
In Palestine and all that kind of stuff, making sure, bringing our resources home to our communities. That's our vision. So what is the anti-establishment vision beyond people just saying they're anti-establishment? Because that's just a branding exercise and not something that serious people are engaging in when they're talking. It's what
she's so serious because she could vote for the Democrats while she's still anti-establishment because she's an adult.
Dore was doing.
That's exactly where that, It's
a way for capitalists to pretend they're revolutionaries because you could just say anti-capitalist is even more clear.
Yes, here comes the same boss, here comes the new boss, same as the old boss. It's just that now I'm different. But
so they're supposed to be anti-capitalist now?
The point is that the reason why this is important is because how you go about being anti-establishment, what you start to dismantle of the establishment. And again, that is supposed to be just a means, not an ends in and of itself. But how you approach that is a function of your ideology. For instance, like the Dartmouth basketball team stopped their unionization drive today, or maybe a day or two ago. And why are they doing this? Because they don't want to go in front of a Trump National Labor Relations Board and establish a precedent. You cannot establish a precedent as a National Labor Relations Board unless there's a case in front of you. It's like the same thing with the courts. I mean, supposedly, you cannot establish a precedent unless you are adjudicating a certain situation. So there are times where it's in your best interest, based upon who you're up against at any given time, to actually retreat and save the fight for a day when the battlefield is more to your favor. I mean, this is like literally based.
These people retreat, and then when the battlefield is more to your favor, when is it ever going to be more to your favor? It's like, other than now, like right after an election, you have 2 to 4 years, whichever election you're thinking about first. We should do the 2026 election, then the 2028. They should be pushing green parties, DSAs. He's going to say he's anti-capitalist. They're going to talk about anti-capitalism, but then push Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. These people.
Sun Tzu
strategy.
And
so what are you going to do now, Sam, this time?
And so all of these things are important. The idea, and this is obviously like a general philosophy, but the last time it came up was during Dore. When we were talking about his tack to the right. Because when you're untethered from...
So what is it called when you support right-wing Democrats? You're blue no matter who. These guys, to me, they've been going right for years. I've noticed that ever since Emma came on the show. She pushes them a bit right, but Democrats are not left-wing, not even close.
Any type of like genuine ideological project, and all you're doing is railing against and howling at the moon, you get led astray. Particularly if you don't seem to have any like sort of like a rudder.
Why would it be so bad if Peter Thiel got on there? What's the difference?
Exactly.
I mean, that's anti-corruption, right? And this is kind of an extension of that I remember Michael saying this, and I'm butchering it a bit, but this was like changed my perspective on it.
Michael is a real anti-capitalist. I hate that they talk about him. He was the one that made the show back in the day. But Emma has no right to really talk about Michael. She is so antithetical to his beliefs.
Specifically, how Dore treated the Lula story, right? Where that's corruption on its face. Locking up Lula.
I want a Lava Jato T-shirt.
Yeah, right. And you find out, well, sometimes corruption in the way that it's deployed by bad faith people like the Bolsonaro administration and the right-wing freaks down there, it's trumped up and it's used to...
She's going to call them right-wing freaks when she supports right-wing Democrats who are freaks.
To lock up one's political enemies. And so corruption is also can be amorphous if it's said by the wrong people. So it's about what you choose to cover, what you choose to lend credibility to, and who... you, through your skills of discernment, is being earnest when they're actually trying to take on powerful interests. And, if you're in the news, you should have a pretty good sense of who that is.
Fames Darwin says, Bill Fletcher said that the right-wing populism is the herpes of capitalism. He was saying that in the same way that herpes outbreaks happen under stress. Capitalism under stress produces populism. Left-wing populism correctly targets economic elites. Right-wing populism targets elites other than economic ones. Or if it does target economic elites, it focuses on their alien nature and targets them as cultural elites.
That's a great
Thus,
point.
the logical endpoint of right-wing populism is anti-Semitism.
Yep.
I mean, you can see this.
I don't understand how anti-Semitism, like they seem to hate almost everybody, right? It doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a black, a Hispanic. If you're not like on the level, if you ain't rich, like the right wing doesn't tend to like you very much. I don't think it's just anti-Semitism is everything.
It's playing out. The idea that the establishment is that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, billionaires, are not part of the establishment in this country is bizarro.
But Soros is, and why is that?
Like Tate
Darwin, what a great I am. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly it.
And
we should get Bill Fletcher back on.
When you talk about, we should actually. When you talk about who have been the sort of like talking point targets of the right-wing populism that is arguably ascendant in this country. Is it big moneyed? There's some talk of it in some quarters. You can find it like, maybe specific industries like the social media industries. But why social media industries as opposed to like
Oil.
airline deregulation or oil or energy production or private equity? It is because social media is a cultural instrument.
And they're trying to
And they're trying to, wrestle away the smug, elites on the coastal elites. Look, the establishment is not some smug professors at colleges, despite the fact that they'd have you believe that on the right. The establishment is not those people who want to, give special powers to trans people. The establishment is not immigrants. The establishment is a class of people. It's not just individuals who run certain committees in Congress. The establishment is a class of people who have aligned interests that are basically, we're going to hoard the money. And if you're in the club...
You guys remember Nancy Pelosi and her chocolate ice cream? I've shared that. Democrats hoard the money. They are the establishment. They are very little different than the Republicans. And these guys are all vote blue no matter who, talking about their anti-establishment.
And you can get into the club, not easily, but we have an initiation process.
It's a lottery.
Yeah, you can get into the club, but once you get into the club, the rules of the club are, we keep the club exclusive. That way we keep the value of our money and we can hoard the money. That's what it is. There's not you ask what the establishment is. The establishment is that. It is a class of people. It is not 5 individuals. It is not people who run a political party. They could be the establishment of that party. They could be the ones that have the power within the context of that party. But in terms of our society, it is an economic class that is hoarding the money, that is socializing the costs,
and all of Congress makes all that money on not stock buybacks, but insider trading and stuff, and they won't vote against it. So yes, everybody, maybe not everybody, but most people in Congress are the establishment.
Privatizing the profits. And they do so at hoarding the money. That is socializing the costs and privatizing the profits. And they do so at the detriment necessarily of a huge swath of the public.
Just one quote from one of my favorite leftist writers from about 80 years ago. I've come to the conclusion that it's futile to be anti-fascist while attempting to preserve capitalism. Fascism, after all, is only a development of capitalism, and the mildest democracy, so-called, is liable to turn into fascism when the pinch comes. That's George Orwell.
It's so stupid. Imperialism turned to capitalism, turned to fascism. It's all the same stuff. It's the same as monarchy, oligarchy. They just throw all these crazy words out here to seem like there's these different things when they all do the same thing. All they do is keep the kings, keep the rich, and none of them are a meritocracy.
I mean, that's why Trump changes his position on H-1B visas, is because he's a tool of the money. And if he could still sort of hoard the money, if he didn't need Elon Musk's billions of dollars to discipline his own party and anybody else, he'd be fine to say to, Stephen Miller, you go ahead.
If Tech was loyal to the Democrats,
oh my God,
he probably would be more interested in doing that this time around.
Exactly.
This guy gonna read a quote from George Orwell talking about capitalism and fascism, and then he said if they would be more loyal to the Democrats. How fascist is that? Be loyal to one of the 2 capitalist parties. There's only 2 parties. And this whole time, ain't said nothing about the Green Party, ain't said nothing about DSA, but they're supposed to be anti-establishment. So these people are pointless. I mean, I watch them just to kind of see where the liberals are doing and what just to keep informed a bit about what these stupid liberals are doing. But yeah, man, I can't believe this. that said we're anti-establishment, we vote for Democrats. So if you think that's anti-establishment, you got another thing coming. You need to do more looking across the spectrum.